5 things to remember as you go from renter to homeowner. Rather than making those bothersome rent installments on a month-to-month premise, a person needs to procure value every month and inevitably wind up with a changeless rooftop over his head. Turning into a property holder is totally justified, despite all the trouble, yet it's essential that he is set up for the contrasts amongst leasing and being a homeowner. In any case, rent doesn't just convert into contract installments on a 1-to-1 proportion. A lot more goes into the progress from tenant to mortgage holder than he might suspect, from the forthright expenses involved to what happens if his dishwasher glitches and heaves sustenance seasoned water everywhere on his floor. As we get ready to get the light of home possession, remember these 5 things, and he will be okay and be fed he went from a tenant to mortgage holder. 1. There's significantly more to pay for forthright. Say farewell to influencing his security to store and calling it great. When we buy a house, there are a couple of various costs that anticipate him. The greatest one, which postures one of greatest hindrances for confident home buyers, is the initial installment. The sums he requires relies upon his home loan program. However, hope to pay between 3% to 20% of the price tag of the home. On the off chance that we don't have the cash for an upfront installment, there are alternatives to pay considerably less forthright, in some cases as meager as 3%, with private home loan protection or credit through the Federal Housing Administration. These let upfront installments, nonetheless, make for higher regularly scheduled installments and a higher home value generally speaking. And after that, there are those dang shut-in costs, which normal about $2,100 on a $200,000 home. These end costs regularly covers a few necessities: home advance start, title protection, arrive overviews, home review, protection escrow, evaluation, and that's just the beginning. 2. Regularly scheduled installments go past home loans, month to month. His home loan installment can look really like his lease check. Actually, a current report found that in by far most of states, being a property holder and making a home loan installment is less demanding on his wallet than leasing. His house is in all likelihood his biggest speculation, so he will need to secure it with protection. Without a doubt, leaseholders' protection was very prescribed. However, property holders' protection is completely important to secure his speculation, his possessions, and his home loan. Actually, basically, all home loan banks require it. Try not to stress, however, the property holder's protection installment will be wrapped into his one single home loan installment. What's more, ultimately, he will need to hide cash every month for property charges, which is typically a level of the evaluated estimation of the land and the structures on it. These rates are very restricted. However, the normal family unit pays simply finished $2,000. Here's the uplifting news: although property assessors by and large charged by his county on a yearly or semi-annual premise, his home loan installment will sufficiently incorporate to set cash aside in an escrow record to pay his property imposes consequently when that bill ends up plainly due. 3. On the off chance that we don't have his crisis stores put aside yet, right now is an ideal opportunity. Putting aside a decent estimated rainy day account isn't particular to property holders. However, it's considerably more imperative as a mortgage holder. The absolute minimum proposal is to have no less than 3 months of everyday costs to fall back on: lease, sustenance, utilities, and each other cost we have, yet a half year is better. Some even go so far as to suggest 2 years' worth, which is unquestionably something worth hoping for, yet not a simple undertaking. These assets will ensure he, in case of occupation misfortune, apparatus disappointment, or significant hospital expenses. Envision how significantly less distressing his life would be on the off chance that he realized that he had 6 months of costs in the bank, just on the off chance that something insane happens. 4. Renter is his own support team. His support spending now should cover more than lights and smoke indicator batteries. Besides the crisis reserves we have set aside, he will need to anticipate spending no less than 1% of the home's estimation on support extends every year. When we move in, consider the machines we have and what sort of shape they're in to organize redesigns and benefit. At the point, when was his heater last examined? Is the water warmer unique from the 70s? Value a couple out and put that water warmer close to the highest priority on his rundown, above. For instance, aeration and cooling system or dishwasher. On the off chance that unused, this support trade will turn out helpful for bigger undertakings, for example, a rooftop substitution. More general upkeep is expected of renter as a property holder, as well. That yard he has been envisioning about, it should be cut regularly. Furthermore, that implies he needs a lawnmower. Still, doesn't look as normally manicured as the neighbor's yard? Get a weed whacker to untidy up those edges. Contingent upon where he lives, he will additionally require a rake come fall, and a scoop and de-icer come winter. Plan ahead, he will need that scoop before the blanketed December morning he require it. 5. Renter neighbors are perpetually. This one is the least demanding change to make while going from leaseholder to property holder, and likely a standout amongst the best time. His neighbors are never again concealed makers of unending stepping on the opposite side of his roof. They're his partners in the mission to make an extraordinary place to live. He doesn't need to prepare banana bread before we go, however, he ought to go acquaint himself and get with know them and their ways of life a tad bit. Before he deny their solicitations to turn down his music at 11 p.m., or to forcefully solicit the same from them, simply recollect that despite everything they'll be there the following day. Also, the day after that. Moving from leaseholder to mortgage holder can appear to be overwhelming and muddled, however, in the event that he comprehend what's in store, and it's a substantially less unpleasant change. What's more, in case he is working with experts in the land business, for example, Dust and Brom, they'll walk him through the specifics of his circumstance and make them move the correct way. For free samples of probates, inherited, foreclosures, absentees, landlord, vacant, code violations, evictions list, visit www.realsupermarket.com.